What's up everyone? Welcome to Ashley Talks Movies. Today's video is a review of Snow White. It's the latest live action remake from Disney. This one is directed by Mark Webb, whose credits include 500 Days of Summer, The Amazing Spider-Man, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Rachel Zegler stars as Snow White, a princess who seeks to free her kingdom from her stepmother, the evil queen, played by Gadot. Before I jump into the review, do me a favor, like, comment, and make sure you subscribe. That way you don't miss any of the videos I post here on the channel.
This was my father's kingdom, a place of fairness, but the queen changed everything.
I've not been a huge fan of Disney's live-action remakes, and I've said that many times in reviews of those movies. I haven't really liked many of them, and part of the problem has been that I either felt that the movies didn't do enough to recapture the magic that made the original animated movies so special, or that they ended up being shot-for-shot remakes that didn't do anything new or interesting with the story. My favorite out of the new era of live-action remakes has been Cinderella. For me, that movie did an excellent job of balancing the old with the new. Cinderella set the bar, and when I'm looking at the live-action movies that have come after it, I'm not only looking at how does this movie stand on its own, is it good or is it bad, but also how does this movie compare to Cinderella? I think with Cinderella, Disney tapped into a formula that worked really well, but they have not been able to replicate. Snow White falls somewhere in the middle. I thought it was pretty good, decent movie. It's not the best of Disney's live-action movies, but it's definitely not the worst. What you essentially get with this movie is a reimagining of this story. And what might surprise some people is that there's actually a lot of things in here that are very similar to the original animated film. This movie has that whimsical feel, and it has many of the elements that you find in a lot of the Disney princess movies, like magic, like the animals, and yes, even a love interest. There's a love story here, but it also makes changes that add more to Snow White's story. It changes her character arc. Instead of her wishing for a true love, she's wishing to find her place in the world. Other characters get more to do, and there's also an adventure element that's kind of added in. Not all the changes work, but some of them do. One of the big changes is the origin to Snow White's name. The movie explains where her name comes from, and I actually thought it worked. It's a departure from the original animated film, but it fits this film. This movie has a bunch of new songs from songwriting duo Benj Pasek and Justin Paul, the same duo behind music for The Greatest Showman. With the exception of two songs, Waiting on a Wish and Good Things Grow, most of the songs, new songs at least, for me, didn't work. I didn't think they were particularly catchy or fit well with the classic songs, but I did like the renditions of songs from the original film. The changes to songs like Hi Ho, I think worked really well, especially because in this movie at least, a lot of the characters like Grumpy and Dopey, some of the side characters that were in the original film, get more to do here. They get more character development. And songs like that one are one of the ways that they do it. One of the highlights of the movie is Rachel Zegler. I actually really enjoyed her performance. No, this isn't the Snow White from the 1937 animated film, but I think she did a good job of embodying this version of the character. She has the right amount of charm and fierceness to bring the character to life, and she also has a powerhouse voice that really elevate many of the musical numbers. Gal Gadot as the evil queen just felt like a huge miscast to me. She wasn't able to be menacing or even wicked enough for this role, which made this villain fall flat. And I honestly couldn't really enjoy the Queen's musical number, although I think the song itself is actually pretty decent, but I couldn't really enjoy it because Gal Gadot is not a singer, and it was very apparent in those scenes. She was just very awkward with the singing. She was very awkward with the dancing. It was very clear that this was not her area of expertise. Another new addition to this story is the character of Jonathan, played by Andrew Burnap, who basically replaces the prince from the original film. He's actually really good in the role, but he's limited by a script that doesn't really give his character a lot of depth. I actually like the addition of this character, and I liked the direction they took with this character, but I wish they would have given him more to do. It seemed like there could have been a version where this character would have had a more prominent role that would have balanced itself with what they do with Snow White's character arc, but they don't actually go there. Also, this character felt like a mashup of other princes and love interest characters that you find in Disney movies, and I really got a strong Flynn Rider vibe from this character. I don't know if that was an intentional decision by the actor or the writer, but it did really feel like that. As for the visuals, they're fine. There's some sequences that are really stunning. lots of color and staging, particularly some of the musical numbers. Then there are some sequences that look really bland and desaturated. They don't have a lot of depth to them. Parts that were not heavily CGI'd, I thought looked really, really good. When you get to the CGI, it is kind of a toss-up of whether or not it looks decent enough or whether it just looks really bad. CGI characters definitely took some time getting used to. I'm mostly referring to the characters that everyone would consider the Seven Dwarfs. I don't know if they're actually called the Seven Dwarfs because they don't call them that in the movie. They don't reference them as that in the movie. The look of these characters are just jarring at first. Their faces are very rubbery looking. It's all very uncanny valley. They do give them a big dose of personality. Again, especially characters like Doc, Dopey, and Grumpy. They get a lot more character development. They get a lot more to do. And they're so much fun. They really bring so much heart and humor to the story. So by the end of it, I wasn't as bothered by their look and their design as I was initially, but I do still wonder about the decision to go that direction with those characters. This movie actually is pretty funny. There are quite a few moments that made me chuckle or laugh out loud. There's some clever little jokes here and there that I think work really well. I think some people have already written this movie off. They don't like Rachel Zegler. They have no plans to see this movie. But I do think there are people who are planning on seeing this movie, and I think most of them will end up liking it. It's not the best of Disney's live action remakes. It's pretty good. It's solid. It's decent. It's entertaining. Yeah, it has its flaws, but there's quite a few things in this movie that work really well. Rachel Zegler's performance is great. There's some visuals that are really stunning. Some of the new songs are really good. The renditions of the classic songs are great. Some of the updates to the characters in the story, I think, work really well. And so I think if you go into it with an open mind, you might end up actually having a pretty good time. So those are my thoughts on Snow White. Let me know in the comments, are you planning on seeing this movie opening weekend? Are you excited for this movie? While you're here, like and subscribe and stick around for more videos like this.